Welcome back to WagerTalk.com, and we're going to take a look at a college football game for Saturday. It's going to be North Carolina at Clemson. I'm joined in studio, Brian Leonard of WagerTalk.com, and of course, I'm Marco D'Angelo, WagerTalk.com. You may notice somebody's missing again this week. Last week he had an issue at home, but this week he's got a bigger issue. Just want to touch upon it real quick. Might have more to say in the coming weeks, but right now, our good friend Vegas Runner can't join us right now. He's in a heated legal battle with our former employers, and right now, while they're battling, he's got an injunction and cannot provide the content for anybody else on the site. So unfortunately, you know, because of this legal battle, you're not going to be able to deal with getting the free information that Vegas Runner shares with you guys, and hopefully this will be settled quickly. It's unfortunate that it's happened. Right now, I'm going to bite my tongue on the matter, but you know me, I can only bite my tongue so long. We might have more about this in the coming weeks. Brian, thanks for sitting in. Short notice again. You're a great utility infielder, can play all positions, and I always appreciate the wealth of knowledge that you bring, and quite frankly, you kicked my butt last week on the head-to-head, so
you don't bet me for lunch.
Yeah, I know, for food, you know. And what's funny is that whenever we bet a meal, if Brian loses, we're going to, let's say, this level. Whenever he wins, he sends me the text, when are we going to Fleming's? And I said, we'll go to happy hour and I'll buy you a burger. But North Carolina, Clemson, let's get right to it, Brian. North Carolina, is there anybody in the world that's going to want to bet North Carolina this week after what happened last week? And a lot of people were on North Carolina. It was a game that was popular both ways. I saw people on both sides, but it seemed like whatever side people were on, they took a pretty good stance. They really liked that side. And North Carolina got trounced last week by East Carolina.
Yeah, they really did. And it's just not last week. North Carolina coming into the season, a lot of people thought were going to be pretty good. I know I used them a couple of weeks ago as a sizable favorite, and they never even came close to covering the spread. East Carolina, anytime East Carolina plays a team in that area, in the Carolina area, I always like to look at East Carolina because they always feel that they're the little brother in that region. And North Carolina is a team that has a lot of talent, but we've seen this off and on the last few years with North Carolina is they never seem to play up to their talent level.
They don't, and I think, well, the big thing is they seem to always be there offensively. I don't know if they just forget about practicing defense during the week or what it is, but you know, this is a team that in 3 games they've scored 56, 31, and 41. Now, one of the games was Liberty. The other game was San Diego State, the game you talked about, which they don't have a great defense, so how can we really gauge it? But last week, their defense, they give up 70 points to East Carolina, and the reason that I was going with Carolina last week, you know, and I'm one of those guys that did side to that side, take the dog with the points, is I thought East Carolina would be in a flat spot coming off the Virginia Tech game. And they caught Virginia Tech at the right time because Virginia Tech was coming off the Ohio State upset, so on and so on. But, you know, the game was like 21-20 out of the gate. They both went up and down the field, and then just one team kept going up and down the field, and it got out of hand. But for me, I like to look whenever teams get that type of ass whooping, I guess we can go ahead and say it. We're on YouTube, so okay. There's no other way to put it. I think you're going to get built-in value, and we've seen the line move in this game significantly and through a key number, went through the number of 14. Do you think that move is warranted?
Well, you're right in your opening statement when you said nobody's going to want to bet North Carolina. And to go back to the game that you talked about with San Diego State, that was a team traveling from coast to coast in a game, a non-conference game, and they still gave North Carolina trouble. I don't know who you're going to take in this game, but I'm having a hard time right now to gauge on North Carolina. It's one of those teams that have talent, but something may be wrong. We've seen it in the past with other teams. It may be happening right now with Northwestern, another team that came into the season with high expectations, haven't lived up to it. South Carolina, another team that were high expectations, played one good football game this season. Sometimes you have to wonder if there's anything going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Well, you know what? Let's go ahead. This is my free play, and you know me, I am a contrarian, and I'm going to go with North Carolina in this one. I'm going to take the inflated number. We saw this number move from Clemson minus 12.5 to move through that key number. It's 14.5. Probably will continue to move now that it's already gone through the key number. You'll see the resistance on the 3s, the 7s, the 14s, 10s, but once it moves through that number, it seems like it'll move even more. I'm going against Clemson as much as I'm going with North Carolina. And Clemson, even though they were playing Florida State without Winston, that was a huge game. They still were playing the national champs, the defending national champs, the #1 ranked team in the country, and they had them on the ropes. Florida State should have lost that football game. And I just got to think that Clemson, suffering their second loss of the season because they lost earlier to Georgia, that was kind of where I throw in the Dream Crusher game. You know, now with 2 losses, everything's out, you know, for them. And I'm going to go ahead and take North Carolina. They're coming off that embarrassing loss. You know the coaches and staff is going to drill them this week off of the bad performance. And you got to think those players, if they got any pride at all, are going to bring it on Saturday. So I'm going to go ahead, take North Carolina. It's one of those ones where you walk to the window, you might have to hold your nose making the play, but, you know, it still cashes the same way. Take North Carolina plus the points on Saturday. I think it'll be a lot closer than people think. And that's my free play for Saturday college football. We'll be back with more. We're going to have a free college play from Brian Leonard up next.